Welcome to the Business Guild Success Funnel Podcast. My name is Pat Hammond.
And I'm Lisa Jackson.
We're the co-founders of the Business Guild and your host for the Success Funnel Podcast. What are we talking about this week, Lisa?
This week, we're talking about the PowerUp networking events.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
So obviously the first question here is, what is PowerUp networking?
PowerUp networking. Actually, I call it PowerUp Relationship Building. And I created it a couple of years ago to bring like-minded business owners together to build relationships. Not like the standard networking function where you show up and throw your business cards out at everybody. It's actually to have face-to-face conversations and build relationships that can lead long-term, not just a one-off for that one night.
Okay, so if this is a little different, then who is this group for? Who's the typical person that's going to attend?
Typically, it's small business owner. I think that's all I've had in the past. People, usually one person shops, they run their own business and they don't have employees. A few times they might have one or two, or they just definitely hire out contractors, but it's usually the small business owner who's just looking to connect, get out of their vacuum of thinking and doing everything with themselves and come in. Other people can commiserate with similar problems and kind of talk out issues and work out solutions. Sometimes we have fun.
Okay, so is this more like I don't want to say mastermind, but it really does go beyond just your elevator pitch and here's my business card.
Exactly. Yep. I actually started it because I don't remember when, but let's see if this shows up. This is Power. No,
no, you're lost.
Power Relationships was the first book that I found, and it's by Andrew Sobel, and it was really great. It's little short business snippets, business and personal snippets, and building relationships. And I love that book so much. Then I found his second book, or another book, so it's not going to work either. No, Power Questions. And this one's just filled with different, definitely business scenarios and how you can build, whether you're just going in for a meet and greet with a potential new client, or you just want to keep building the ongoing relationships. And the whole title is Power Questions, Build Relationships, Win New Business, and Influence Others. And I like just picking one question per meeting and just having the group discuss it and how it relates to them and what they think of it, if they've actually used something like that when in their conversations with prospects, or if they really think it's beneficial or not. It goes both ways, pros and cons, whenever I throw it out to the group. So that makes the group a little different. I think it's sort of between a mastermind and a typical networking group.
Okay, so basically, just to kind of wrap my head around this, you're helping people learn how to build relationships, not just networking, but with clients, with partners. And
correct.
Okay.
That's the overall intent, because we want to help each other succeed. And this is just a conversation starter to get the group going.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice. So when does the group meet? Like, how often do you meet?
Right now it's twice a month. It changes as the group morphs and grows and people have different interests. Right now I offer it in the evenings, the first Thursday evening of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern, and the third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, and I should point out that this is on the Business Guild's events calendar. You don't have to memorize this. You can just go onto the calendar from our website, thebizguild.com, and you can pull up the events and all the information about each event. And
exactly.
Is there a cost for this? How much does it cost?
It's free to Business Guild members now that it's part of the Business Guild, and it's $10 for not yet Business Guild members. You can also, like you mentioned, the website, you can also find it by searching on Eventbrite for the Business Guild, and all our events come up with the details too.
Yeah, and we'll have links to the Eventbrite site in the comments section of the video. Yeah. So where does the group meet?
It's all Zoom right now. I used to meet in different New Hampshire locations, but of course that went down the pipes in 2020, and Zoom has just been the venue for now. I'm hoping to break out later as things grow and expand, especially with the Business Guild and interest to have some in-person events here and there whenever we can. But for now, it's all Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the same for a lot of things. I know we've had a lot of issues with our groups, people wanting to meet in person. They really desperately want to get out of their houses, but when it comes time to actually show up at the venue, they usually opt to just do the Zoom version.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough.
It's tough because, you know, you do want to do the in-person, you want to get the body language and actually talk to the person. Well, that's another thing I hadn't mentioned. When there's a big enough attendance, I break people out into twos so they can have one-on-ones. Yeah. And so it depends on the size. We'll discuss the question as a group, or if there's enough, I break them out into subgroups or breakout rooms as they are on Zoom, and for like 10 minutes, and then come back, chat some more, break them out again. Depends on how many, but that's beneficial. People really love that, having the one-on-one time, because when you are in person, you might see a person across the room, or you don't know who you want to meet when you're in a room, but on Zoom, you can actually figure it out. And then I compare them up that way too. So,
yeah, I know, like with some of the guild's other events, I found in the past when we were doing in person only, that a lot of times people would come specifically looking for not necessarily a person, but somebody who does whatever they're looking for. And they come in the room, and when you pretty much all networking groups that do an introduction at the beginning. I mean, very few don't unless you're at a huge event.
Right.
Yeah. And usually as soon you can see it in their eye when they see when they find the person that does what they want. It's like, oh yeah, scribbling down the person's name. All right, gotta talk to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a strange time to be doing networking.
It is.
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, no. So how is this group beneficial?
It's beneficial in that way that people have complimented me afterwards on how well it's run, how fun the conversation is. No, seriously, because it's sort of an agenda, and I make sure people are having fun, and I introduce folks. I keep track of who's been there before and who I've paired off with somebody. I also ask them to tell me if there's somebody they want to talk to and want to meet. And it's the breakout rooms. People really enjoy just getting that little extra, and see if they want to pursue it afterwards for a coffee chat. When I ran in-person events for like 8 years. And a lot of the times people would come up and say, I really wanted to talk to so-and-so, but I couldn't make it across the room or whatever. Can you connect me? And it's just different. But in the moment, connecting, and it's worked out to some good business relationships, actually. And people are still in touch with each other. So that makes it different. And then just having a focus, having a question in particular after doing the round robin introductions. And sometimes I'll throw out a fun question like, and I think it's important ending the session with what was a win that you had this week, or what's a win you think you're going to have in the coming weeks? What are you going to do between now and the next meeting? And people are willing to share by the end of the meeting. They really get hyped up, and I don't know, there's just a lot of smiles and relationship building.
So you're also kind of, putting the idea in there of accountability.
Yep.
Yeah. Think about what you want to do and how you're going to get there.
Yeah. And sharing, if there's not a particular issue so much as, I don't know, there's always some topic that comes up that everybody's like, oh yeah, I'd like to dig into that a little more. And sometimes we'll do that instead of a power question. It's pretty much, it's structured, but free flow. It's hard to explain. It's just fun when it happens.
Well, do you have pretty much the same people every time, or do you get a mix?
A mix. There's a couple, there's some regulars, but they're not there every meeting. They might, once a month, like the Thursday night might be more convenient for them. So I have like regulars on Thursday and regulars on Tuesday, but then there's also, it's a mix of newbies and regulars.
Yeah. I sometimes think that when we have the same people every time, it's very challenging.
Yeah.
Because there's a familiarity, and it's awesome. Like this past year with COVID, it's awesome to be able to walk into a room and have people know who you are, what you do, and what your issues are as far as business goes. And they can really just drill right down into it and commiserate or provide solutions. But I think you lose a little spark
Yeah,
if it's always the same. I mean, I know I
Yeah.
used to do coffee buzz, and it was great in the beginning because we had like a handful of regulars, but then a bunch of different people showing up, and they were showing up from all over the state. They weren't just like here
Nice.
locally where we are. And eventually it just became like this group of regulars, and it really was kind of a drag. I really
Because you
struggled.
get into a rut
Yeah, I
or the
really
familiar.
became unmotivated to go because I don't
Yep.
drink coffee.
Yep.
So
That's a big one for coffee chat.
yeah,
But
but
no, it's true. No, mine's always had a mix. I might have a couple regulars, but it's
yeah,
always more newbies than
yeah.
regular people.
Yeah. I mean, when we were meeting in person for the biweekly, it was a core group, but it was like 30 people. So 30 people
Right.
didn't show up every other week. We had
Right.
like 15 or 20 come. So it was like always a
Yeah.
little
A
different.
little different. Yeah.
Yeah. But you still had familiarity, and I like that. I like that a lot. I like it, especially when you get a couple new people coming in.
Yep.
It changes
Yeah.
the dynamic. They have different questions, different perspectives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the mix. I don't want all newbies every time. I like
Yeah.
having a couple of regulars, kind of like show people around or just jump in a part of a conversation. Hey, Lisa, how about this too? Or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's nice that people could come in 1 month and then if they're not able to come back, and they come back 3 or 4 months later, it's familiar. It's the same, different people, but same setup, and they know what to expect. So
Yeah. And I think I need to point out that the reason we have this kind of meetup, if you will, is because Lisa and I believe in the power of relationships. I mean, that's the whole purpose behind networking, is to build strong relationships, whether it's in your community, business network, just the people around you. When you have these kind of relationships, that leads to referrals, that leads to introductions, and it just sets you up so that you're not going to meeting handing out a business card and saying, hi, my name's Pat, I'm the co-founder of the Business Guild, and this is it. I mean,
yeah.
because you can only say that so many times before you lose enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not me, but
No. But I mean, variety, but relationship building is the key, and it's not just about sales.
no,
You
absolutely
need
not.
the referrals, and you want the relationship, so you're not making decisions in a vacuum. That's my biggest thing, being a solopreneur.
Yeah.
I'm not doing everything myself, and that's it's nice to get different perspectives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially for writing, because I know like if I'm working on an article, not so much for the guild, because the guild, I have a longer time period to write stuff, but when I'm doing regular journalism, I need somebody to answer a question now because I'm on a deadline. This has to be done today or in an
Right.
hour, or whatever the time frame is on it. So it's really helpful to me to have these connections where I can say, hey, do you know someone who's a doorman at this hotel, or
Right.
do you know the manager of X company, that you can get to people and ask a question or get a comment or background info or whatever you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the relationships also go towards the know, like, and trust aspect of everything. So people get to know you, and they might not need your services personally, but then the referrals, because they know what you like to talk to, communicate with. But anyway, so that's important too, and that comes through.
So is there anything else people need to know about PowerUp Relationship Building?
It's a great time. You should come to a meeting sometime. Find the links, and I'll see you then.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of the Success Funnel podcast. Don't forget to check out the latest issue of Flackery Magazine. As I've said the last few weeks, this is the branding issue. We're coming up on the release of a new edition in a few weeks. So I would definitely, if you have questions or an interest in learning more about branding, how to brand your business, how to build a strong brand, pick up this issue of Flackery. It's free right now. You can get it on the
Okay.
website or go to flackerymag.com. And you'll be impressed. I promise you. You will get perspective that you're not going to find on the internet.
Mhm.
And if you'd like more information about the Business Guild, you can find us at thebizguild.com. Have a great week, people.
Bye.